Alright, so I'm going to pull this deal here. And this comes out pretty easy. I mean, if we do this anymore, they're probably going to wear out. With this one here, you just make sure you take out the right screws. You don't need to separate the other board. You'll see if you look down in here, you'll see the little tabs. But you don't need to separate this top part from the other part. And I found that it's much easier just to go ahead and flop the face down rather than sit here. If I can get this screw without dropping it. It's much easier, just flop the face down, then sit here and try and pull that thing out of there with the face in the way. Oh man, come on, where the... Seriously? The screw. Oh, there we go. I'm like... Okay, so... Let me show you guys what I'm doing. So... the face down. So when you have all this stuff in the way here, it's a little bit harder. We got one more screw, I guess. Or did I pull the wrong one? So you got to get the power wire out of the way. And then once you do that, now you're looking at the PLL board down here. And I'm going to pull this one more time. And I'm going to go through it. And there's more wax in this one here. And what I need to do is get in and find out on the wiring diagram where the power is that feeds the PLL. Now I know there's voltage on there, and I've never seen it disappear, but I don't know if that's actually the voltage that feeds it. I just found another flow chart that said, hey, okay, check these ones here for voltage. If you don't have anything, unplug this connector here. Now if you have voltage, then it means that your problem is on the carrier board. But when the fault happens, there's still voltage over here. So I really do think it's this board. I found, that nasty cruddy black stuff on the back. It's all stuck to the board. This thing's like seriously covered with lots of resin. I mean, I didn't really find any what looked like bad soldering connections, but you don't always see them. They're real hard to see unless you wiggle the other side. So, but if you solder the entire board, you could actually end up causing yourself more problems because some of the stuff's pretty close together. And we're not talking like surface mount stuff, but you know what I mean? In fact, actually, I think on those kind of boards it's spaced out further because they're able to use smaller components. But on these, it's certainly very easy to screw up and bridge a solder connection, especially when there's all this nasty flux all over the board. You can't even tell if that's a trace that goes all the way through because there's so much crap on it. So, anyway, it could be one of these, You got to check these. These things could act funny. But I've had this apart so many times. So this one here had a lot of stuff on the back of it. And there's wax in there. It's not Sony Bond. And if you look in here, there's some wax. But nothing else has wax. Just this one and that one. And these circuits actually look very similar. So I'm going to heat this thing up. We'll be back in a little bit. So what I ended up doing was I took the blow dryer and I went outside with some compressed air, and I still wasn't able to get it all out. There's still, it doesn't, yeah, this one doesn't act the same as the other. Maybe it's just the temperature outside, but it didn't want to melt like this one. This one was running all over the place. I did use a blow dryer and a heat gun on this one. So I'm going to try the blow dryer inside, where I'm not like dealing with 50-degree outside temperature, and just see if I can get it to like run a little bit better. But heating it up and then hitting it with compressed air really gets the wax out normally. So, but I think the temperature outside's got an issue. Yeah, I don't know if that's really maybe good enough. It's really like, God, it's so hard to get that stuff out of there. There's not a lot, but there's like this little like coating. Same with this other one. Because when you look at like over here, don't really have anything. But it blows out around the board too, you know, so you can't get it off with rubbing alcohol. I mean, it's wax. It's ridiculous. I guess if you maybe, you know, I don't know. I don't want to get it too hot. So we're going to put it back in and see what it does. Well, it's working. I'm going to move the face back up, because that's where it pinches wires. And I think if you left the face hanging down and there was a problem, you might not ever find it, because it makes the connections different. So, we should leave it like this for a while. Maybe hook an antenna up to it. I might actually put the bottom cover on it, because I think that maybe it might be rusting on some stuff it shouldn't be. So, we don't actually have this screwed down. In fact, none of it is. So, I probably should have done that. I mean, you can pull this out of here, you know, with it. You know, as you can see, it doesn't want to come out. So, you really need to pull the face back to get that out of the way. It's just much easier. You're less likely to break something. So, I want it to where, like, when it fails, I can get in here and test it, you know, right away. If I was to put this on, like, a camera or something, run it all damn day, and it had a meter that would run all damn day, I could sit here and I probably could, you know, tap a wire onto one of the VCOs that I know is going out of lock and wait and see what it does before it does it, you know. But that's just a little bit too much work. So I'm sure that it's probably going to come unlocked again, but I just kind of have to keep trying and keep trying to get the wax out of that stuff, because I think that could be it too, you know. And once you start to get the wax out, then I think when you reflow the board, it kind of helps get it out of the way. So what I really need to do though is just go through the board really good after all the wax is out better and reflow the whole thing. But it's possible that I'm just chasing my tail and the problem isn't anywhere on that board at all. That it's something else that's just randomly stopping. I mean, I haven't been able to duplicate it. I haven't pressed on the board. I can't make it come back. It's just usually when it goes, I'll pull the board. Some time has passed. I'll plug it back in and it'll come on. It's like a time-related thing, when it fails. But like yesterday, I couldn't get it to come back for nothing, and I just never took anything out. I just shut the radio off and came back a couple hours later, tried to turn it on. Came back a couple hours later, tried to turn it on. And then, this morning I came out here and I turned it on and it came on. So, whatever it is, it either, is related to the temperature or just something. So, we're going to continue working on this. I'm not going to give up yet. It doesn't do me any good broken, so we need to find out what's wrong with it.